Alright, guys, so I don't know if this, how this stream is gonna look or do whatever, but, it is what it is. I didn't have a lot of prep and everything, but, I have a couple of guests with me, some new, some old, so if y'all want to introduce yourselves real quick, Google Mesh, you're gonna start with yourself, and then we'll go down the line.
Yeah, what's going on, Rizzo? I'm just hanging out.
Hey, Rizzo. I'm Trash Man. Don't let the name confuse you, but I am the Trash Man.
Oh shit, Panda here.
What's up, Panda? From the coast,
buddy.
the good coast, not the bad coast, the good coast.
Yeah, none of that bullshit, dude. We're chilling out here.
Yeah, I've actually.
What is that? The Gulf Coast? Is that the only good coast?
No, that's the
No.
meaner coast.
So
No, I'm in
East Coast. East Coast is the best coast.
I'm in the southern coast, southeast coast. Not far enough down to be Florida cucks, but just far enough down to be good old white trash.
Well, I almost kind of took you for like a Cali accent a little bit, but I guess like beach is beach anywhere, right?
Yeah, I guess. But no, that is, yeah, you're right. Like, dude, people around here, like, this place is like not even like fucking real. Like, you go into the fucking grocery store and people are just wearing no shirt and no shoes, and it's just like, that's just straight. That's just like how it is around here in the summer. Like, no one gives a fuck.
Yeah, dude, it's hot as fuck, man. I feel you. Like, I went to boot camp in, I think, Parris Island's like South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah, but dude, the fucking sand fleas and shit, man, they will fuck you up.
Yeah, they call them no-see-ums.
No-see-ums?
So, like, yeah, you can't see them. Like, are you talking about the ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't like see them, dude, and they're so small. They'll like swarm your ass.
I don't know how y'all do it, man. I cannot handle that humidity.
Well, I mean, you're a little further north, aren't you?
Well,
but you're still by the water, or you used to live by the water, right?
Yeah, I split my time between two of the most cucked areas in the entire United States, New York and the Bay Area in California. I kind of been back and forth the last 10 years. And, yeah, I mean, there's good things and bad things about both, but, man, I did spend a little bit of time in New Orleans when I was younger. I just cannot deal with that humidity, man. It is just fucking torture.
Dude, yeah, it is torture, but New Orleans is a good time.
You're sweating to the fucking core by 8:30 in the morning. And then you gotta go. I worked in the kitchen when I was down in New Orleans, man. I cannot handle it. I will never live in a place that humid again.
Wait, can you say did you work at a bigger restaurant? Was it maybe Brennan's or something like that, or?
I actually worked in the kitchen at a Hooters, and then I worked at another like little. It was owned by the Brennans. It was another little one called like 1152. It was just like a little small, like, French style restaurant.
Oh no!
But yeah, the Brennans own everything down there, right?
Well, like Brennan's is like a restaurant that like when my great grandfather came in to New Orleans, because like he came in like from the ship, came into Parris Island, came down to New Orleans in like 1914. He worked as a dishwasher first, and then like he made a bunch of money, and then like he joined the Navy during World War I, and then after he got out, I'm kind of fuzzy on the details between the World War I to the Great Depression, but I know that during the Great Depression, my great grandfather owned like the French Quarter was going for real cheap, and he bought like 3/4 of the French Quarter up, and then like sold it after.
Damn, you're New Orleans royalty.
Yeah, no,
because I know the Brennan family owns a ton of bars and restaurants down in New Orleans at the French Quarter.
Yeah, no, we have there's still like a paper factory that my family owns. Like my dad used to own it, but when I asked him what happened, he said disco and cocaine. So yeah, because I used to see all these pictures. Like I was going through like my parents' old my parents just split up, but I used to go through like their old photo albums, and like I see my dad and he was actually thin. He wasn't a fat ass Guido, but he had like a brand new Camaros and like wearing 3-piece suits. And then like I saw like pictures of my grandpa and like my grandfather on my dad's side was like missing one finger because he was part of the Italian mafia down in New Orleans back in the day, and like he like pissed some people off and he had like his finger cut off. And I think it was the Gambinos. I think it was the Gambino family that he worked for and shit like that, because he used to like be like a mid-level guy for them or whatever. But I used to ask my dad, I was like, dude, what the fuck happened? I was like, you're a piece of shit fucking loser. Like, how did you fuck all this up?
Well, it's always that way, right? The Chinese have a saying that the first generation makes the fortune, the second generation holds on to it, and the third generation loses it. It comes back from the old Mongolians. They say the throne, the ladder to the throne, you wear combat boots, and the descent down to hell, you wearing silk slippers or something like that. It's the old thing of hard times make good men create weak. Easy times create weak men create hard time.
Well,
just a cycle.
Yeah.
the guy I've been working with, like very like close, like the welder I've been working with, he's Indian, like he's South Indian, and like the dude's super nice, like easy to get along with, and like, but there's like, so it's me, a white dude, a Puerto Rican who speaks pretty good English, and then there's a fucking an Indian dude, and so like there's a loss of translation between the three of us. Shit gets kind of fucked up because I'll tell the Puerto Rican dude one thing, and then he'll tell the Indian dude one thing, and then like when it gets back to me, like it's all kind of fucked up. Yeah. But I mean, we're all super nice to each other. But I can tell, like, when I'm talking to the Indian guy, and like when he says, like, when I say something he doesn't understand, he just says, he like shakes his head and smiles and says, "Okay, my friend, okay." And I'm just like, you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, do you? And he's just like, "Okay, my friend."
Yeah, dude. I've been to Mexico a couple times, and like I learned a little Spanish. I took a couple years in high school, and then when I went to Mexico, I like picked up on quite a bit more. But it's like now I haven't been around people that speak Spanish for a long time. But where I work now, they come in my location, and like, dude, I can like speak it, I can read it, like, but I can't understand. They talk so fucking fast, dude. I just like wonder. I'm like, God, do we speak English this fucking fast? Because it's like they're just like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, I actually could understand a little bit of what you're saying if you just slow the fuck down.
Well, my thing is like I've gotten to where like I can listen to like Mexicans, like, or Texicans, like, because there's a lot of Hispanic people that are born American, like there might be a generation or two in, but like they speak Spanish and they'll speak Spanish to each other or whatever, and like I can follow that, like I can listen and follow up, but like the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans and stuff like that work too. I can't. I tell them, I was like, y'all need to slow down. I can't. It's complete. But it's when I was talking to this dude, he was bitching at me about, he was like talking about like how the Mexicans talk, and I was like, oh, okay, this makes perfect sense. I said, so how you talk is like how white people talk, and how Mexicans talk is like how niggers talk. And he was like, yes, exactly. But I use that jokingly, but like, dude, like, they're pretty racist. Dude, the fucking like, everybody's racist against like black people or whatever, and it's kind of like, oh, even the Indian dude was like, oh, no, me no. I was like, hey man, go help that dude out. And he was like, oh, no, me not. But he, the whole time with a smile, he's like, no, me no work with the black. And I was like, God damn, dude, you're almost as dark as him, and you're refusing to fucking, Jesus.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, you can tell, like, obviously, like, the skin color defines it, but it's like, let's say that let's say that like, you know, you removed the pigment and everybody had the same color skin, those people would like those even if they look the same as you, they'd still be just as sorry. It's just like a coincidence that, or I don't know, not a coincidence, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not speaking correctly, but I'm just saying, like, dude, it's just the type of people that that are in that genetic line that are just, like that's historically or you know
They can't really seem to help themselves that much.
yeah, it's just like, and it's I don't know. I mean, dude, I've worked with some people that were black that were completely legit. Like my manager now, she's black, she's fucking super solid, but that's not the norm, or you know what I mean? It's like obviously
They're
there's
like
outliers.
the outlier.
Yeah.
Well, in my experience, they're usually okay if you're hanging out with them one on one or two in a small group. It's when you have a big group of them that they just have this like mob mentality about them that they just can't get anything fucking through to them.
Yeah,
They just circle up right away.
They're basically the orcs from Warhammer.
you can have one black dude by himself and hanging out with you and like, oh, it's all cool. But as soon as they, you know, get in a group, it's just like it's the. It's the what do you call it? Not a culture, but like a society. It's a societal thing, or just a group mentality. I think.
Well, it's like the problem is it's like a cultural form of confirmation bias. It's like, you're hanging out with somebody one on one, and then you guys, and so it's like to you, you say something, and then they agree because that seems like the thing to do, but they may be thinking something different. Well, if they have another person that they know is probably thinking the same as them, then now all of a sudden they can gang up on you because there's 2 versus 1 that think the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Panda. I mean,
Yeah.
you're
If
from
they're
the
the
South.
minority, they have to try to assimilate. Where if they have the numbers on their side. I've seen a breakdown of this about like the percentage of Muslims in a country where if they're less than 1%, it's not that big of a problem. Once you get over 5%, they refuse to assimilate. It's over 10% when they actually start getting like violent and demanding Sharia law and things like that.
I think I've always kind of thought that maybe it's just because since they're quote unquote the original humans, since everyone came out of Africa, that they didn't evolve as much as other people to like be able to have this kind of cognitive ability to go and form these new ideas and accept these new ideas. So they just go with group mentality and this tribal instinct.
Well, I've also heard that the Neanderthal admixture that's found in a lot of Europeans is the reason that we just evolved differently. We had the hybrid vigor.
Yeah.
It's a lot more.
I was
Sub-Saharan
literally.
Africans almost never have Neanderthal DNA, and it's actually pretty common in Europeans.
I was literally looking at a Puerto Rican guy, an Indian, like from India, white person, and just like I had like a rainbow of people, like just right in front of me. We're all working together because the company's big. Have a diverse company, whatever. And I'm just like looking. It's just, the Indian guy, like you could, if his skin was white, he'd be white. Same hair, everything. The Puerto Ricans, if his skin was a little, he was pretty dark. He had like dreadlocks or whatever, but his hair was still good. But it's just, I hate to say it, but the black guy was the odd man out. Their hair is completely different. His structural features of his face. Because the Indian guy, like when I was saying he could be white, his nose and everything's, it's just that he had darker skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but evolution goes way beyond just physical characteristics. You got to look at cognitive and behavioral adaptations too.
I don't know. I think a lot of behavioral adaptations within India is partially just because of where they were in such a hostile environment.
Well, India is the first like multicultural empire, the first multicultural kingdom. There's a lot of different ethnicities within India proper, and a lot of people say the multicultural nature of it is what led to its destruction because there's just a lot of incompatible subgroups within it. They're just doomed to constantly fight wars.
Aren't they a democracy? Like a true democracy?
Not sure.
They're not. Hold on. I want to look it up, but I think that hold on.
Well, I keep bags of beef jerky on me to snack through work, and I I didn't want to offer the Indian guy the beef jerky. You know what I mean?
Oh, because he might be Hindu.
Yeah, but I don't think he's Hindu because he had said something. Because we had a guy, a good friend of mine actually that I worked with. He fell and got hurt pretty badly and had to go to medical, and like ambulance had to pick him up and stuff. But he was like, he's like, oh, I won't fall from scaffold. I'm not sure if he said God or if he said the gods because of how he talked. You know what I mean? But I really don't try to like bring up. I really don't try to talk about religion at at work or whatever because it's kind of
Yeah.
Because you'll freak out on them.
No, I mean I'm not gonna. Dude, I'm very polite.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time about the Leo pirate
Oh.
stream, dude. You're good.
Well, actually, I'd be really interested in to pick the dude. But he says he's South Indian and like, he lives in Texas. He's been living in Texas for a couple years and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure he might. I want to ask him. I was like, are there like is there a Christian? Because I could see maybe them letting in Christian Indians like over here. Because I asked him, I was like,
There's
"Do you have
a
visa,
few
work
actual-
visa and stuff." Because he said he's been in the United States for 4 years, but he has his wife and family over, so I can understand. Well, I asked him if he had a work visa. He says, "Yeah, I have a work visa," and then he said his wife and kids are over here too. So I'm like, well, how does somebody with a work visa bring their whole family over? That's things I don't know about, but I didn't want to get too much into it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's like, I mean, I don't know. That's why, I don't know. Maybe this is like a huge turn away from what we're talking about, but this is like one of the reasons that I was so pumped about fucking when Trump had the fucking plan with the wall, and they were like, we want 800,000 DACA members to stay, and we'll give you the money for the wall. And then he was like, how about you give us, or we'll give you 1.9 million DACA refugees or whatever, DACA recipients, and they can get a path to citizenship, and then you give us the money for the wall, and we end the, God, what is it called? It's like the
Chain migration.
the chain migration. Yeah, dude. And they like freaked out, and like even the Republicans were pissed that Trump was giving them that many DACA with path to citizenship, and then the liberals were fucking pissed because they didn't want to end that, and then like both parties were happy, which really is a sign that it was a pretty good deal. If both parties aren't happy, dude, you probably are like pretty close to where you need to be. And anyway, it's like they fucked that whole thing up, and like that was a good shot at ending chain migration because that shit is bogus, dude. Like that is a bunch of bullshit.
I mean, Trump's just got to get something signed on immigration before 2020, because that's going to be the big talking point. The lefties.
I think that's one of the reasons they tanked that shit, because like it was a great deal for them, really, honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly,
they need that as a talking point. If Trump takes it away from them, they're going to be kind of
exactly.
They're not going to have a lot to. I mean, what else do they have? Guns? That's a bad fucking move.
Yeah.
You're
going to let him solve
economics.
Everything? Yeah, their economics are garbage. I mean, the Fed's talking about raising interest rates, so that's going to come with a little bit of a market crash. And if you want to go down the conspiracy route, we can say that the Federal Reserve chairs are on the side or anti-Trumpers, and they can engineer a market crash just in time to make it look like Trump's fucking up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That chain migration thing is just like, it's just such bullshit because, I mean, even if you go ahead.
Well, that's how the fucking I asked somebody that owns like a Chinese food restaurant. So apparently these Chinese food restaurants that you see, that's like, because I keep saying like where I'm from originally has like a huge Vietnamese population, Like if you look at the demographics, there's like a huge influx of them from like the early 90s and stuff. And like you go to a Chinese food restaurant, but they're all speaking Vietnamese or whatever. And so what they'll do is like, so when you come over and you start a business, you have like 5 years tax free or whatever, something like that. Don't hold me to it. But what they'll do is that once that time is up, like once that 5 years or whatever amount of period of time is up for their tax free, whatever, they'll bring somebody in from out of country and put it in their name, so they're constantly not paying taxes on that business. So every couple of years they bring somebody from the home country and put the business in their name, and so on and so forth.
Right, so you can turn one anchor baby into like 45 new citizens over like 10-15 years. It's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like you can't even, and at this point, like you can't even really be mad at them for taking advantage of a program that our government's stupid enough to let happen. Honestly, it's like, they're just fucking working a loophole, just like most people are trying to do every fucking year on their taxes or any other way with businesses. I mean, people hate on Trump for having like multiple bankruptcies, but dude, bankruptcy is actually like without bankruptcy, like America wouldn't be what it is, because like that's what bankruptcy is, like what gives people the freedom to like take risks on entrepreneurial ventures.
Sure, having limited liability, it definitely helps entrepreneurship. And
Yeah.
also, like, the whole thing, like, he's had 4 bankruptcies or something. He started over 3,000 businesses, so it's like, that's a pretty good ratio of
Yeah.
sales to win.
Well, yeah, absolutely, dude. People are like, "Oh, well, he was rich." It's like, yeah, his family had money, but like, if you look at like what he started with like his first initial investment was like $1 million, and obviously he's taken loans on top of that, but he started with $1 million of actual capital, and he's like, he's worth multiple billion through multiple bankruptcies. It's like, dude. I mean, you say a lot about him, and I can criticize him for hours, but it's like it's pretty fucking impressive, dude.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, a lot of it was kind of right place, right time.
And he
He
knew some people from his dad, I'm sure.
Well, he bought up pretty much all of Tribeca, all of like Lower Manhattan, when it was just like a heroin-ridden shithole. When it was just the dregs. Like Manhattan was a shit. Like when I was a kid, I grew up in New York in the '90s. Yeah, it was an absolute shithole.
Really?
And Julia, yeah, I mean, if you look at like Taxi Driver, like movies that were made in New York in the '70s and '80s, it was just like all pimps and hookers and drug dealers on the streets, like Lower Manhattan, which is like Disney World these days. And Giuliani, we had this mayor in '96 who just really cleaned up the streets. He had what was called broken windows policing, which the idea is that if you stop the small crimes, you stop the broken windows, you stop the graffiti, that it'll give people more of a sense of pride of their city. So he went really hard. He put a cop on every corner, and it really turned the whole city around. And that came at the time when there was a big tech boom and a big finance boom. So New York really, from like '96 to 2006, there's a completely different city. So Trump bought out a really kind of downtrodden neighborhood in Manhattan that is now like incredibly affluent. So he was kind of just like in the right place at the right time. I mean, not to say that doesn't require skill.
Yeah, it takes some vision, but I mean, you're right though.
Absolutely.
You're right. It's like it's like I don't want to say it's lucky, but at the same time, it's he took advantage. He did get lucky to some.
Well, they
to some
say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So he was in the right place, the right time. He made the right moves, and it worked out for him.
Well, that's like my stepdad. He's a real successful guy, and he's made a lot of money on investments, and that's what he always told me. He's like, a lot of people say, he's like, if you want to be really successful in like an entrepreneurial ventures, he's like, people rush out to go start businesses. He's like, they would just want to get started right now. He's like, realistically, he's like, if you want to start a business, he's like, get a good job and save up a lot of money and keep your credit good. He's like, and then you just wait for an opportunity. He's like, people that just are like, they finish college and they're like, I'm going to start a business right now. He's like, honestly, that's not really the way to go all the time. He's like, you need to wait for like, a market to open or find like an opportunity inside of a market. And he's like, just store all of your capital until that point. It's kind of like, I don't know if he's big. I don't know if my stepdad's read Sun Tzu and the Art of War, but it's kind of like that mentality.
Well, there's a lot of good info in the Art of War, but yeah, I think it's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like the Art of War. He's just like, you basically say, it's like every dot. Well, I used to play poker, and I've read Sun Tzu and the Art of War. It's like a translation for poker, and it's like that's kind of how he describes it. He's like, every chip is like a soldier, and he's like, you just want to amass as many soldiers as you can, and then you unleash them on one target at the opportune time or whatever.
Well, also a good one in the poker analogy is never stop an enemy when he's making a mistake, right?
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That's like, I can't tell you how many times I've just stayed at a table when I wanted to leave, but like some drunk dude is just like spewing chips, and it's just like you just like I mean, you just like end up at a table for like a whole day because like somebody with their nose open is just there fucking splashing chips all over the place, and it's just like god damn, dude. A lot of times they're really annoying fuckers too. Like a lot of big poker losers are faggots, but it's like that's why God invented headphones.
Yeah, they spend money to keep friends. They become a donkey just so people will talk to them.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
What did
You gamble at all, Rizzo?
Huh?
Are you gambling, man?
Man, I got some stories. If y'all want a little Uncle Rizzo's story hour, so
Please.
in 2015, it's part of 2015. I was working in Iowa. It was a new construction fertilizer plant, blah blah blah. But I was making pretty good money. I was making about $2,300 a week. Staying in a hotel that paid like that cost like $400 a week. Like living good and a fucking maids and shit or whatever. And well, at that point in time, I'd never done meth. I wasn't really big into meth. I didn't like it. I was kind of like a downer kind of guy. But I was working nights, and like so I kind of got introduced to it from like some guys that were like, oh here, this is to help stay up on nights. I ended up getting fucking hooked up on meth or whatever, and but my hotel was right next door to a casino, and
Hold on, pause real quick. Were you in Central Iowa?
I was in Burlington.
Burlington. Okay, my bad. I've just played in a lot of poker rooms in Iowa. Go on with Uncle Rizzo's story hour.
Yeah, and so I've always said like I don't gamble. If I'm gonna blow my money, I'm gonna get fucked up. I'm not gonna blow it. I'm not gonna waste it on anything. And then this one guy, we were chilling in my hotel room, and it was like the casino closed at 4 o'clock, and it was like 2 o'clock, and he was like, hey man, come to casino with me, and I was like, no man, I really don't want to. I'm really not into that. I mean, it's like right across the street. And he was like, man, I'll give you $50 to play one. And like I had money, I had thousands of dollars. And he was like, I'll give you $50 to play one if you come with me. And I was like, okay. So I went, and I was playing slots, just like he showed me. He was like, you don't want to play the penny slots. You want to play the quarter 50-cent dollar slots, max bet every time, blah blah. And so I kind of dibble dabbled here and there. I used to go to this casino before because the casinos down here you drink for free, and so like that's the thing we also used to do is like we go to the casino, drink for free. You might play video poker and you get a drink for free, but there you had to pay for drinks. So like I was like, oh no, I'm not, I wasn't really big into it. But 2 minutes before closing time, on a nickel bet, he won fucking $3,600. And I think he had put in like 200 and he won 3,600. And after that I was hooked. And I started blowing. Like I remember one time I had gotten paid. It was a Thursday. I had probably about $1,700, and took about an hour and a half. It was all gone, and I walked out dazed and confused. I was just like,
all playing slots.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Rizzo. $100 bill at a time. $100. Well, I mean, the thing is like, because when you're on the meth or whatever, the bright lights and the shiny colors and the rolling stuff, like you're just, it's and that's what I know. It's like I realized that there's a lot of other people that like, cause we had like our own like meth community, like people that all like fucked around on the job that we would all, hey man, can you get this, or and I was starting to notice like they're all in the casino all the time, so you have a bunch of fucking methed out fucking meth heads in a casino blowing like all their money all the time. And eventually, I mean, if y'all want me to get really fucking deep, story hour. And I mean, this is a hurtful story. It's kind of hard for me to tell it, but so there was a friend of mine that we had been friends. We started on the job together. Well, he had gotten laid off. But he stayed in the town. He was from Mississippi, but we're all the way up in Iowa. But he stayed in Iowa to sell meth to people because he was like, oh, I'm making more money selling meth than I was working in the plant making fucking $25 an hour. And but for some reason he was super paranoid, and so like in like that town, like it's so cold, like everybody was on meth out there or whatever. And so there was these thoughts. They were like some 19-year-old girls, and I'd have them in my hotel room, and we would like smoke a bunch of meth and do a bunch of meth together and shit like that. But he was cool with them because they were locals, and like that's like his connector. But anyway, they ended up telling him, because when you're up for fucking days at a time, you come up with these crazy conspiracies, that I was fucking his wife and that his wife was up there.
Ooh,
And
lad.
well, the whole
Were you?
No, I wasn't.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I wasn't. But the thing is like, so like the toothbrushes that I buy usually come in a 2-for-1 pack. And they told him that they saw 2 toothbrushes in my hotel room. He thinks because I don't know why, because I used to go to his house, and I'm very respectful when it comes to like, I don't add friends, wives, girlfriends, nothing on Facebook. I don't want nothing to do because that's the same thing. But he had some issues because she'd fucked around on him before, and I guess I'm not saying like I'm that good looking of a guy, but I think, you know, he thought that I was better looking than him or something, and then I don't know, whatever. But alright, so long story short, he was finally moving back down to Mississippi. He had gotten, you know, a little too hard up and shit like that, and he was staying he had a house, but he moved out of the house and stayed in a hotel for a couple nights before they drove back down to Mississippi, because he was getting his truck worked on. He had to get his family to send him money to get his truck worked on so he could make it back home. Well, I had gone over to his hotel. I was chilling with him, doing drugs, and I left my iPad in his hotel room. But the next morning, I woke up and I was like, oh, I got to go get my iPad because he's leaving, and I don't want him to take it with me because he's a shady fucking drug user or whatever. And his hotel was like right across the street from my hotel. So I go to that hotel, and I pull up in the parking lot, and I see him and his wife and his truck, and the windows were fogged up, there was glow sticks and a strobe light, and I was like, oh, they're having some kind of freaky meth sex kind of stuff. And I was like, oh man, I really don't want to be intruding. So like, I walked up to the front of the truck, and I knocked on the hood, and he looked up over at me, and I waved. I was like, hey man, I just need to go to your room and get my iPad. He flips the fuck out, hops out of the truck, has a gun and a crowbar, and his fucking...
A gun and a crowbar.
Yeah, and he's butt-ass naked, and he comes rushing me, and I rushed to my car. Oh, and by the way, so I had just, previously, I had just lost all my money in the casino or whatever, but then I won, like, 23... No, I didn't lose all the money. I had just gotten paid, and I had gotten like a bunch of money that I had saved up. I probably had like $4,000 or $5,000 I was going to send home later after work because I had to do it after work or whatever. And I had it in my glove box. And he comes rushing at me. I run to my car. I get my car, and he starts threatening me. And like, I had a really, really, really nice car. I had a really brand new nice car, and I got out the car and I said, please dude, don't fuck my car up, don't hit my car, please don't fucking hit my car, please, whatever you do, don't hit my car. And he fucking pointed the gun like straight to my forehead. He put it to my fucking forehead, and he said, where's the love letter?
Holy shit.
I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, where's the love letter that my wife gave you? I was like, dude, you are... I said, dude, you've been up for too long. He was shooting meth. He wasn't smoking it or snorting it. He was actually shooting it up like IV, like needle. And once you do that, you go fucking crazy. And I was like, dude, you can fucking... Like, at this time, I'm telling this dude... I mean, the dude had a gun, you know? So I was like, dude, search my car. There's no fucking love letter. He goes rummaging through my car. And I didn't even think about it. He opened the glove box, and then he fucking got out, pointed the gun to me. He was like, bye. Goes inside. And I'm fucking sweating bullets. I get back in my car. I drive back to my hotel. I'm all shaken up. I open up my glove box. All that money was gone. And I was like, fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no, fuck no, fuck no. I call the cops. I say, look, man, this fucking meth head, he just robbed me. I have the fucking paper receipts of my paychecks and all this, I have proof or whatever. So it gets worse. So I fucking so it's probably about 6 o'clock in the morning at this time. I show up back to the hotel. The cops have him. The cop is talking to the dude. He's acting straight as fuck. He's acting like he hasn't been up for like 4 or 5 days and been shooting up a gram of meth at a fucking time. And the cop comes up to me and was like, "Hey man, so your friend here says that you were fucking around with his wife, and that's why he pulled the gun out on you." I was like, I told the cop, I was like, are you fucking serious? And like, I had just been in his hotel room the day before, and I was like, look, here's where all the drugs are. Here's where the ounce of meth is. Here's where all the needles. And like, oh well, we'll go check. They went. They came back, and the officer was like, we didn't find any drugs, but your friend, he seems like a really good guy. He's offering to give you the last of the money that he had to go home. And like, they gave me like $800 in 50s, and I had hundreds. And I was like, they hand me this wad of money, these 50s, and I was like, this isn't my money. So the cops looked at me and they're like, oh, so you're saying this isn't your money, like that they're going to take it back? And I was like, no. I don't know if he had paid him off or whatever, but this motherfucker had the cops believing that I was the fucking bad guy in the fucking situation, that I was trying to fucking fuck over my friend, that I was actually fucking his wife and shit like that, and that he wasn't on drugs and shit like that. And so the cops were like, yeah, we didn't find anything in the room, take this money, leave it. And I was like, fuck, whatever. I called my boss. I was like, look, man, I can't come in. I had a gun pointed at my head. I'm too stressed out. I can't come working in construction. I can't do it. And he was like, talk to me later. I go home. I go back to my hotel room. 45 minutes later, I get a call from, this is the, Burlington police. We need you to come in for a statement. I go in. Apparently, this motherfucker shot up some more meth, tied up his wife with a fucking iPhone cables, beat the fuck out of her, got butt-ass naked, had a fucking standoff with the police, and then passed out in the fucking bathroom. Oh. And then they found all the drugs. Then they found everything, but not my money.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
Now, Rizzo, can you go ahead and drag us all back into the swamp?
Yeah, sorry, I've been telling my story. But that's 100% true story. If anybody wants to fuck, you can look. Hold on. Let me go pull the link up real quick. I'll post the link of the article.
Hold on. You cut out like for the past 2 minutes. You went to Levy and then you went to the Bayou. Now you're back here.
Wait, what?
Yeah, listen. Yeah, you were in 2 different rooms. Listen, the last thing you said was, I get a phone call. I called my boss. He said I could chill out. I didn't have to go to work. I get a phone call. This is the Burlington police. That's where you cut out.
All right. So Burlington police calls me. So what happened was, so the guy had tied up his wife, the one that he accused me of fucking around with, their owner. He had tied her up with iPhone charging cables, beat the fuck out of her, had a standoff with the police, like a gun standoff in the police in the hotel, and then passed the fuck out. And then they came into the room, they found all the money, they found all the drugs, they found all the needles. But I wasn't able to get any of my money back because
it's evidence now.
Yeah,
it's evidence.
Well, did you get to keep the 850s or what?
Yeah, I got to keep that, but I mean I was out like $4,500.
Yeah,
God
damn. Fuck that nigga.
A ton of money, bro.
I had a story about gambling that I wanted to tell, but now it just sounds boring compared to that one.
Let me find the news article real quick.
I mean,
I've got a lot of stories from playing poker, but nothing like I've never had a gun pulled on me.
Listen, I have one gambling story where I went to a casino with $50 to pay off a fucking $500 speeding ticket. When I was like 18, I dropped out of college.
I worked on a crew with a bunch of boys. We all got paid in cash at the end of the season. We were doing like seasonal work. So we all had like $10,000 cash on us, something like that, between 8 and 10 grand. So one of our guys, we all go to Vegas together, we walk straight in the casino, all badass. He goes to the first roulette table he sees. He goes, boom, $1,000 on black. Let's do it, boys. comes up red. You should have seen the fucking look on his face. So now the rest of the weekend comes, and we're like, yo, man, what's up, man? What's up, Jamie? We're going to go out to the bar. We're going to the strip club. We're going out to the shows. He was just like, nah, man. I can't do shit. I just lost $1,000. My girlfriend's going to fucking kill me.
Hey,
5 minutes. 5 minutes into the
Rizzo, your show's the stream is just black, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
That's fine.
I couldn't. It was too late, and it is what it is.
Listen,
You're
dude,
black,
it's
Boogie.
super simple. If you want to fix this shit, just open up your OBS, click insert image, and then just find an image, and then you'll be good. Then it won't just be black.
It's already on the stream. It does it's too late to fix now at this point.
Not really. You can still edit it while the stream is going.
Oh, okay. I just saw that in the chat. I just didn't know if you'd seen it. But I have a story about a gun getting pulled on me and my friends. It was one of those moments where you're like, we may get shot at. It was weird. But continue your story.
No, let's hear your gun story, J-Bugs.
Explain.
Okay. So as some of you know, I'm black, and so me and my friends, I'm a plethora of African American friends, and we're all like, we go to a Waffle House because we're in the Southern people go to Waffle Houses at like 11 o'clock at night.
Of
Black
course.
people do.
My cousin works at a Waffle House.
Yeah.
Waffle House is shit.
Waffle House lit.
And Waffle House is the greatest thing to happen in human history. So back to the point. So we're walking. We pull up to the Waffle House. We get out the car, and one of my friends recently got robbed of all his shit, and so he sees a guy in the Waffle House. And he looks at him. He's like, "That guy looks familiar." He's like, "Is that the guy who robbed me?" And he's saying this to us. So then one of my friends walks in to go take a peek, and then I shit you not, the guy who got robbed, he the big buff black, he the big buff black guy. He walks up. He's walking up behind this other, not big buff, but he's tall, but he's skinny. But skinny buff dude, he's walking up behind him, and they both walking on these these black, these niggas. These are not your
These is giga niggas.
These are niggas that have probably killed people. They walk in on them, and then they all me and a bunch of other people are still outside. We look in, and there's 4 other black people, and they all get up, and they all yo, what's going on right now? And then they all walk out, and then shit you not, they're yo, they one of the guys pulling gun is yo, don't fuck with us, and he had a handgun with an extendo clip, and I was like, what the fuck?
That's pretty gangster.
I was like, nigga, we would have gotten shot at. That's
Yo, I ain't about it,
Wait.
fam.
Do they call them extendo clips in the hood? This nigga had an extendo clip.
I called it.
What is that? A fucking ghetto extended
It
clip?
was one of
Is
those
that one of those
like-
extendo clips?
I should have said extended clips. That was a fuck up. but it was I looked at it. I was like, this nigga pulled out a gun in us. If we had gotten shot, I didn't die, I would have killed you.
Yo, if you'd have got shot, you'd have been pretty butthurt.
You would have gotten shot at a Waffle House, just like those people that died last week at Waffle House.
But see,
That would have made you walk to the hospital.
First of all, that dude showed up to the Waffle House butt ass naked with just a fucking trench coat.
Blazer.
That's not.
I mean, you see somebody show up butt naked to the Waffle House with nothing but a fucking blazer and a
They
fucking
came to
gun,
fucking party.
Maybe you should just try turn 360 and walk away.
No,
360.
People already inside. How'd it get different if you walk in and you see a person naked with nothing and just like a jacket? You're like, I'm still gonna go into this fucking Waffles. Nah, there are points that when you walk into Waffle House, you're like, no. But again, Waffle House is still better than IHOP any day of the week.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
They're
No,
both
Waffle House.
inferior to Perkins.
No, Waffle House is the greatest because Waffle House will stay open through anything.
So will Perkins.
I
No,
personally
no.
have seen it open through fucking hurricanes.
Waffle House is still open through snow. That is That is
Dude,
the one.
Waffle
Oh
House.
my
I
god,
heard-
it'll stay open for the snow. Oh my god.
I heard that the Waffle
So
House the other
amazing.
day that got shut up didn't even close.
They probably did it. That's what you know. That's a Waffle House. That's a Waffle Home right there. We're not gonna close. We're gonna stay open.
Waffle
and keep
Home.
serving our food.
You
What
know
the
why
fuck?
they don't close? It's because they're run by black people who can't afford the fucking losses.
True. That's another point. That is another point. That is another point. Like,
Dude,
yeah,
I got robbed one time at gunpoint, and but it was my own fault. I met a friend. I met a friend's friend to sell him a quarter pound of weed, and it was bad. I got in the car and I was like, oh man. And then it was like immediately they pulled a gun on me and were just like, they took my cell phone, but I had a second cell phone, so they just took like my little flip phone. But it was pretty rowdy, dude. And I was not gonna lie, like I was like kind of scared. But I was just like thinking in my head, I'm like, well, they're not gonna rob me. They're not gonna shoot me. They just want my weed and my money.
Fuck
And
yeah,
so-
dude. My buddy had a fucking QP stole from him one time. We was sitting on like the front porch of our house, and these niggers coming up, and they're like, "Yo, man, we want to buy some weed. You got that weed?" And he's like, "Yeah, man." And he shows it to him, and they just fucking grab it and run off. And my
Fuck
buddy,
that.
he's a fat fucker, and he did not own a gun, so he was just like, "Oh, well, they're halfway down the block. They're already gone." So.
Dude.
But we knew that they were going to college, and we knew that they were staying in the dorms. So we got our buddies who were staying up in the dorms to let us in there, and we found this nigga's room, pounded on it, and for some fucked up reason, this nigga actually opened the door. We walked in there, 4 motherfuckers just beat the shit out of this kid right there, and he's like, we're like, "Are you gonna steal weed from us again, boy?" And he's like, "No."
I don't know.
I didn't have that luxury.
Listen, the last time I had a gun pointed at me was by my friend who was drunk and he pointed a shotgun at me and I had a fucking bow pointed at him.
You had a fucking bow?
What were you guys doing,
Were you
dude?
hunting deer?
We were fucking around.
wait a minute.
No, we were just fucking around with the shit that he had.
Oh yeah.
He had a loaded shotgun pointed at me like he was fucking joking around, but he was also really drunk. And I was really drunk too, so I had a bow in my hand, so I just fucking knocked an arrow and just drew it back and pointed at him. So it was like, who's gonna fuck up first? It was fun.
Hey guys.
Yeah,
real-
it sounds like a huge party.
hey,
This
guys,
is
real
like
quick,
this is the
real
same
quick,
friend that we used to beat the shit out of each other's sticks as kids.
Real quick, I'm probably gonna stop the stream. It's blacked out and stream a little later. I want
But
you.
people are
I got-
watching it.
Huh?
People are still watching it though.
Okay, well, can somebody cover it?
What do you mean
mean?
cover
What do you
it?
mean cover it?
Like, I mean, I gotta go to work in the morning at like fucking 4 o'clock.
Okay,
Oh.
man. If you want to call it a night, then just call it a night. Ain't nobody.
Yeah, fuck Anal
doing
Vape.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Fuck
Anal
Anal
Vape,
Vape.
why'd you do this to
Anal
the
Vape,
stream?
that's it.
Ain't
Anal
nobody
Vape, why
ruined
you
the
stream? We were gonna have fake Ross on. We were gonna do a bunch of
Yeah.
things. We were gonna talk about
Yeah.
JF's new co-host.
I like
I mean,
it.
Aaron-
y'all can continue. I just don't know what happened if I just left it running. What would happen if,
If
I
you,
just left it running?
if you listen,
24 hour.
You would
If
eventually
you
go
just-
AFK, and then
if you
would go
just
into a
left
different
this
room.
stream running, then eventually the conversation would die down in here, and then we'd move to another server, and then you'd have a stream that is like 4.5 hours of dead air.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't,
Yeah,
I
we
don't,
gotta
yeah,
shut it down.
I don't want that to happen. So I mean,
Just shut it down.
I apologize, guys. This was just kind of off the cuff. Everything that I had planned didn't work through, so maybe we can try again
Well,
tomorrow.
yeah. Our main guest of the night, the founder of the notorious Clowntown Posse, didn't show up, so that was a bummer.
Yeah.
total
I
bummer.
was really hoping to get an explanation of what the fuck that whole thing with Queen of Bance was, because like holy shit,
Hold
This
on.
fucking
What
nigger
about the
fake-
Queen of Bands thing?
this
Yeah, I'm
nigger
gonna go
fake
another 10
Ross,
minutes,
this
another
nigger
10
fake
minutes.
Ross, this nigger fake Ross masterminded the whole fucking ordeal.
Yeah.
Holy
Oh.
shit, I heard that.
I wonder how he did it, bro. Like, come on now.
Dude, he's got
Just with a-
accounts on accounts on accounts on accounts. So many fucking
His ac-
fingers here and there.
Yeah.
It's like a spider web.
Yeah.
His
Everyone
accounts
just
have
thinks he's a
accounts.
Troll, but he's a fucking mastermind.
Nah, dude,
Well, I
he
mean-
called out Jim, and he said he'd do it on a stream.
Guys, you
They
do
call that
know
Jim
that I
and
am
Todd.
fake Ross, right?
That's right. He said he would fight them both IRL.
Ooh,
Yeah,
fight it. Ooh,
I think
wait.
Tonka's being protected. He's scared. He's fighting
Yeah.
cans at this point. He can't
Yeah,
handle
no.
Fake Ross.
Tonka, he'll challenge people like Zoom to a fight, but Zoom's a badass. He
Yeah.
is afraid to face Fake Ross in the ring.
He's not going to handle Fake Ross. He's not going to handle Jade
Isn't Fake
Boogie.
Ross like 6'3", 220?
Probably. You
Like,
heard
did
his
he-
voice?
Yeah, Chad McGill. That's just one of his alts.
Well, we didn't get to interview him tonight. It's probably better for us.
I mean, you think that he's got? I mean, what kind of moves do you think he has? You think he could take Zoom?
You mean his number one move, destroying the alt right? That's.
I thought his number one move was Daddy No.
Daddy, that's right. The Indian burn.
The Indian face
Uh-oh.
burn.
That's
The Indian face burn.
my dude. We're talking about what Fake Ross's move is.
Yeah, his move is the Daddy No. He took it from Tonka's saw.
He
He
just
stole it.
No,
He
no.
stole
wait,
it from Tonka's dad.
Wait. Is this? Wait. Let me.
Daddy, no.
Is this signature then? Fucking,
Daddy
like,
No!
destroying the alt right. And he power bombs him on his left side. It's weird.
Well, I mean,
All right,
he
Rizzo.
didn't destroy the alt-right.
Rizzo,
Yeah.
give us your closing statement.
Closing statement is don't do meth, don't gamble. Weed's okay, I guess. But
Play with guns while you're drunk.
yeah.
Yes.
Clown Town's where it's at. Y'all guys have a good night. I apologize for the technical difficulties and all like that, but hopefully he'll be better next time.
Fuck yeah!